This is Neil's on Dynasty. Please like, share, and subscribe. Buy some silver, some platinum, some crystallized osmium. Be kind, helpful, and grateful. Don't listen to me on this podcast because I don't want to strike. And don't think anything I say has anything other to do than entertainment and stuff for you to research on your own. Hello, JM and Tom. Let me go to share screen here, get this first thing going. Some interesting stuff. Start off with some what I would consider mind expanding, skill expanding, stuff like that. Let's see if I got this going here. Nope, that's not what I want to do. Let's see. Nope, that's not what I want to do. All right, I'll figure this out. We'll just start.
Many of you here have probably heard of the 10,000 hours rule. It's the idea that to become great in anything takes 10,000 hours of focused practice, so you'd better get started as early as possible. The poster child for this story is Tiger Woods. His father famously gave him a putter when he was 7 months old. Fast forward to the age of 21, he's the greatest golfer in the world. Quintessential 10,000 hours story. Another is that of the three Polgar sisters, whose father decided to teach them chess in a very technical manner from a very early age. Two of his daughters went on to become grandmaster chess players. I got curious. If this 10,000 hours rule is correct, then we should see that elite athletes get a head start in so-called deliberate practice. And in fact, when scientists study elite athletes, they see that they spend more time in deliberate practice. Not a big surprise. When they actually track athletes over the course of their development, the pattern looks like this. The future elites tend to have what scientists call a sampling period, where they try a variety of physical activities, they gain broad general skills, and delay specializing until later than peers who plateau at lower levels. That doesn't really comport with the 10,000 hours rule, does it? So I started to wonder about other domains that we associate with obligatory early specialization, like music. Turns out the pattern's often similar. The exceptional musicians didn't start spending more time in deliberate practice than the average musicians until their third instrument. They too tended to have a sampling period. Even musicians we think of as famously precocious, like Yo-Yo Ma. So this got me interested in exploring the developmental backgrounds of people whose work I had long admired. Duke Ellington shunned music lessons as a kid to focus on baseball and painting and drawing. Mariam Mirzakhani wasn't interested in math as a girl, dreamed of becoming a novelist, and went on to become the first and so far only woman to win the Fields Medal, the most prestigious prize in the world in math. Vincent van Gogh had 5 different careers before flaming out spectacularly, and in his late 20s picked up a book called The Guide to the ABCs of Drawing.
That is the one I find most interesting. Dude was a failure. Vincent van Gogh was a failure at everything in life until he learned how to draw.
Claude Shannon was an electrical engineer at the University of Michigan who took a philosophy course just to fulfill a requirement. And in it, he learned about a near-century-old system of logic by which true and false statements could be coded as ones and zeros and solved like math problems. This led to the development of binary code, which underlies all of our digital computers today. Frances Hesselbein took her first professional job at the age of 54 and went on to become the CEO of the Girl Scouts. Here's an athlete I've followed. He tried some tennis, some skiing, wrestling. His mother was actually a tennis coach, but she declined to coach him because he wouldn't return balls normally. And he kept trying more sports. Handball, volleyball, soccer, badminton, skateboarding. So who is this dabbler? This is Roger Federer. Every bit as famous as an adult as Tiger Woods, and yet even tennis enthusiasts don't usually know anything about his developmental story. Why is that? Well, I think it's partly because the Tiger story is very dramatic, but also because it seems like this tidy narrative that we can extrapolate to anything that we want to be good at in our own lives. But it turns out that in many ways, golf is a uniquely horrible model of almost everything that humans want to learn. Golf is the epitome of what the psychologist Robin Hogarth called a kind learning environment. Next steps and goals are clear, rules are clear and never change. When you do something, you get feedback that is quick and accurate. Chess, also a kind learning environment. On the other end of the spectrum are wicked learning environments, where next steps and goals may not be clear. Rules may change. You may or may not get feedback when you do something. It may be delayed. It may be inaccurate. Which one of these sounds like the world we're increasingly living in? So if hyper-specialization isn't always the trick in a wicked world, what is? That can be difficult to talk about because sometimes it looks like meandering or zigzagging or keeping a broader view. It can look like getting behind. But if we look at research on technological innovation, it shows that increasingly the most impactful patents are authored by teams that include individuals who have worked across a large number of different technology classes and often merge things from different domains. Someone whose work I've admired who was sort of on the forefront of this is a Japanese man named Gunpei Yokoi. Yokoi didn't score well in his electronics exams at school, so he had to settle for a low-tier job as a machine maintenance worker at a playing card company in Kyoto. He combined some well-known technology from the calculator industry with some well-known technology from the credit card industry and made handheld games. And it turned this playing card company, which was founded in a wooden storefront in the 19th century, into a toy and game operation. You may have heard of it. It's called Nintendo. His magnum opus was the Game Boy. We probably don't make as many of those people as we could because we don't tend to incentivize anything that doesn't look like a head start or specialization. And naturally, I think there are as many ways to succeed as there are people. But I think we tend only to incentivize and encourage the tiger path, when increasingly in a wicked world, we need people who travel the Roger path as well. Or as the eminent physicist and mathematician and writer Freeman Dyson put it, for a healthy ecosystem, we need both birds and frogs. Frogs are down in the mud, seeing all the granular details. The birds are soaring up above, not seeing those details, but integrating the knowledge of the frogs. And we need both. The problem, Dyson said, is that we're telling everyone to become frogs. And I think, in a wicked world, that's increasingly short-sighted.
Education is the ultimate idea worth spreading. That's why we have a channel dedicated exclusively to celebrating and elevating the ideas of educators.
Boom, enough of that. All right, what do you guys think about that? 10,000 hour rule and two different perceived paths out there of how to get there. Tiger Woods way, where you start in one thing, stay in it, and that's all you do. Or, the other guy he mentioned, whose name I don't recall, where he tried lots of different things, and in each one of those different things increased his skill level in whatever, he was needed for his final thing, which was, I guess, tennis, I guess. So there's lots of different ways. Van Gogh, didn't realize that he was good at art until he was 28 or something like that, after getting fired from 5 other career choices. So don't get I think the premise being, don't give up. God's got a plan for all of us. If it's not working out for you, try getting closer to God. Maybe he'll give you some pointers on what he wants you to do to succeed. Who knows? Yeah, I just brought this up, JM, because I found it interesting, a thoughtful way of making people look at what they're doing if they're like slightly depressed and not being where they think they should be. Just to bring light to the path isn't always what we want it to be. Like the president, the first CEO of the Girl Scouts didn't get her first job till 54 and then became president of the Girl Scouts. Who knows? Warren Buffett didn't make his first $1 million till 55, but yet now you got Kramer out there making $1 million a year, telling us all lies in his, mid 40s. So there's a path for everybody. And just because you see someone being successful, don't be, jealous of them. They found their path. If you find your path, I believe you'll be happy and wealthy. Uh, 100% true, Tom. Not everyone gets to be the greatest at what other people do. But one thing I truly believe is everyone can be the greatest at what they were made to do. Might be the greatest mom, the greatest babysitter. There's lots of greats. It's just our perception of what we perceive as great. We perceive the guys that get gold medals, the guys that get pins on their ribbons and stuff like that. They're supposed to be great. But greatness goes beyond that. There was a gentleman, he was a 11th grade English teacher at an adult high program at Pensacola Junior College when I went to adult high there. I never took 10th grade English, never made over a C in English in my life. Quit school in 10th grade, so I didn't finish 10th grade English. Went to junior high, junior college to go to adult high school. And I met this black professor, an English professor. So I signed up for his class. He was only teaching 11th grade English. So I skipped a year of English, walked out of his class with an A, the first and only A I had in my life in English, because his greatness was, he was a retired engineer from out here in California, made lots of money. I don't know why the hell he moved back to Pensacola, but he moved back to Pensacola, took on a part-time job as a professor, being a retired engineer. And his gift wasn't being an engineer, it was teaching English. Because I was able to, he made English understandable to me the way that other English teachers never could. And he was in his late 50s, you know, so there's different paths for different people. Sorry, go ahead, James. I just had to tell that.
Yeah. I found a really similar thing with math as well. Like there's different ways of teaching.
Oh, yeah.
Not everybody learns the same way. So if you have a mentor or a teacher that learns the same way or teaches the same way that is digestible for you to learn, you're leaps and bounds ahead at something that otherwise you may have thought that you were terrible at.
100%.
Yeah.
And that's because we've generalized learning and what we perceive as success. And we all think the same thing about it, and we haven't left open the opportunity of different ways to learn the same thing, because all of our brains aren't wired the same. Not one person on this planet has their brain wired the same as someone else.
Yeah.
And the way the Department of Education is determined for us to learn is, in my opinion, very crappy and produces nothing of sustainable value. So we need to change our teaching techniques.
Yeah. And they were saying 10,000 hours is sort of
a general rule.
A good target. And the main reason I popped up right away was I was going to say, because in dog training, they say in order to really teach, not train, but to teach a dog something new, you have to go through the process 100 times for it to really start to sink in.
And that makes sense because their brain power is about that much less than ours, 100 to 10,000.
Yeah. But the more I love the message there that, you know, the more you practice, the better you'll get. And also having a variety of different skills first. So you kind of start out as a generalist, diverse, and then specialize.
Indeed. Yes. The diversity comes in handy later in life after you specialize. I was going to point that out with the Tiger Woods story. He's had a miserable fucking life after he left golf because he has nothing else. He was specified only to that one thing, and it's now been taken from him. His life is miserable.
Yeah.
You know, so
people I've seen that specialize from a very young age. Like the one guy right off the bat that comes to mind now has a certificate from the Royal Surgeons and Physicians.
Wow.
From Ireland. And he's book smart and he knows all the biology and science and chemistry, but he couldn't tell you how to do an oil change on his car. He couldn't tell you how to change a tire on the car, anything like that. It's all so focused and like almost zero street smarts.
And that's another means of being called intelligent is you overflow one side of your knowledge, and you, like an Einstein, supposedly couldn't freaking put on the same color socks and didn't care. I mean, like Rain Man, it's a give and take in a lot of scenarios, unless now that's natural smartness and giftedness, but learned is the 10,000 hour rule. Because I as a kid, when I first got to Scotland in 3rd grade, and I now know why my grandmother did it. And she only did it to me, not to my brother. But that 10,000 hour rule, I swear to God, man, when I was there, I probably got 2,000 hours worth of math training off of flashcards, addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, 1 through 12, answers on one side, problem on the other. And before every meal, I'd have to go through like a couple hundred of them. And whatever side she showed, I had to give her either, you know, it was like, the answer was, make it simple, the answer would be 4. I'd say, well, 2 times 2 or 2 plus 2 would be the equation that gets that answer. And she made, and or, it'd give the 2 plus 2 and I'd have to get the answer without seeing it kind of thing. And she did that for 2 years, third and fourth grade. And that's why I'm so good at math naturally, because of what she did to me, or the way she taught me. And it was that 10,000 hour rule. She knew it back in 1974, 73, 4, 5, something like that. And she had instilled the math in me. That's why I'm real good at engineering and all math-based stuff.
I wanted to highlight the comment that Tom Larson put in there. Have to remember, not everyone gets to be in quotes, the greatest, no matter what the choice is. And that's so true. Like, you can have these elite athletes or people that specialize, and they'll never become the greatest. But to me, if you're in the top 1%, you're doing really, really good, especially if you're in the top 1% of any elite group.
Yeah, you found your calling at that point in time.
Yeah,
or one of your callings. They change throughout life.
I look at someone like Wayne Gretzky, who had a lot of those advantages. His dad started him out young, encouraged him, gave him all the tools that he needed, but he practiced, and but the key there is lots of other kids had a similar upbringing and a similar start and a similar focus, but there's one person that ends up just blowing everybody else away.
I think it's because he had natural ability on top of everything else. That gives you an advantage over the 10,000 hour.
Well, physically, he did not most people in hockey at his height and weight and strength would never even be accepted. He's just too small a guy. But like you said, the natural ability and the skills that he developed.
I can say one name that right now ought to reinforce what you just said, and that would be Tony Dorsett, one of the greater running backs. He was like 5'6", 170 pounds, fucking small compared to today's standards, but still holds lots of records as a running back. Yep. And going up against guys that are 300-pound giants because he could move.
Yep.
He didn't get hit. So small guys are move easier, and he found his niche in a big boys game.
And the intelligence too, right? Like physical prowess is not always the end all.
Well, and it's a thought process, because one thing I just thought about Tony Dorsett, and also I believe Rice was a wide receiver, a real famous one, and I believe a couple of famous basketball players all took ballet so they could learn the spin and land and motion of the spin, and they added that knowledge base that they learned through muscle memory of doing to the game that they were in, and it amplified their ability. Yep. So they took from another thing that you don't normally, like, no one would ever associate ballet with sports, a physical sports, but it's got its place.
Well, and the stretching in there and the agility are all going to help out. I know right now a lot of NHL players, believe it or not, have been taking figure skating.
Yeah. For being able to balance, spin, I could see that. As a matter of fact, if I was a hockey coach, I would suggest it to any player who wanted to be good.
Yep.
It's what I would call the other side of the coin. If you're and we'll use hockey as an example. You could gain all the skills, get you 10,000 hours of training in just hockey, but yet the hockey is played on ice with skates. So you might be good at the game, but are you the best with skating?
Yep.
So you can increase the skating by not thinking hockey, but think of other things that are skating. Ice skate, ballerina stuff and all this other stuff adds to the skill of the skating, which you can take and add to the hockey because it's on ice using the same tools, but in a different manner.
Yeah. Reminds me of that movie. Did you ever see that movie, Jim Cotta?
It's not familiar.
It's a great movie. A guy that got into martial arts, but he started out as a gymnast.
That's a
world-class gymnast, right? And then he took those skills, and I think, a similar story to a lot of the martial arts stories. He goes to China and learns from
The original teachers
yeah, but he already had the gymnastics there.
and
Very incredible.
the muscle mass and flexibility that they actually train kung fu and karate people to get that through the karate and kung fu. He already had it through gymnastics, so he was way farther ahead of the other guys because of cross training, basically. And that's why the term cross training is so good for. But it's not just for sports. We think cross training only in sports. Man, it's so much more than just sports. You can put it to all kinds of aspects of life. Verbal skills, as an iron worker, why would I need verbal skills? Well, shit, there's been several times in my career where $100 million people who owned the damn building that I was building came onto the job site. And if I didn't speak in a different manner than most iron workers, I wouldn't have got close to them to even say anything. So that's an example of personal. So yeah, it's always learn, basically. Specialize, but learn, because some of the things you learn might go to that specialty. What's up, Deplorable? Rollerblading could be good for ice skating. It's very similar premise. But yeah, you do more. I believe you can obviously do more on rollerblades because of the amount of space you can cover. To where ice skating, you're limited on. Well, you got to be on ice, so you're limited on training.
And the hacky sack reference too. I remember when I was in high school, a lot of the kids were playing hacky sack.
Dude, hacky sack is good for soccer players, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Or hockey players are good with hacky sack, however you want to say it.
Soccer. Yeah.
Yeah, because I learned, again, back to my Scotland days, I learned to play soccer, not, American football. And I wasn't introduced to hacky sack till 1994. And we got back from England or Scotland in 76. So big time break of practicing soccer. But I picked up that hacky sack and man, it was just like, oh God, this is awesome. So it was a skill learned through soccer that instantly transferred over into a different sport. And actually real well, because with a soccer ball, they bounce. Hacky sack really doesn't bounce. You can get it to land and stay a lot easier than an inflatable ball.
Yeah. So if you look up in the chat, 6 or 7 comments, I put the word Dharma in there.
Yeah, I thought you said karma and just misspelled it.
Yeah, no. And Dharma, the way my understanding of it, that's one of those Eastern religions. I forget if it's Buddhism or Hinduism, but they teach and they call it Dharma. And the thing is that their belief is that every person has a specific, not a goal, but a calling in life. And it's their job in life to figure out what it is. And it'll be that one thing that they are more talented or able to become more specialized in than the vast majority of people. And a huge part of their focus is to get people to search out and try to figure out, I guess another word for it would be calling, right? What's your calling?
Yeah.
Hey, Andrew.
This is, I'm actually getting us some information on Dharma right now. Hey, what's up, Andrew? And it's both religions. Hinduism and Buddhism, yeah.
And I think karma comes from those Eastern religions as well.
Yeah.
Originally.
But yeah, I just wanted to get on the topic that not too many people talk about.
Yeah, good call. I like that.
Yeah, I like if I can't bring truthful information because I'm getting too many strikes, I'll try and bring interesting information that I probably won't get a strike.
Thought-provoking, and I think also too, rather than stating things, as a fact or a point, just rephrase it in the form of a question, and I think you'll get around a lot of those strikes a little bit easier that way.
Yeah, they were copyright type, where the person whose video I used complained. I believe it was to the financial shows there at the end that I was starting to show. like Coin Financial or something like that, where they gave a history, 15-minute history of certain things. Those are the guys that started dinging me.
Wow.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and before that, I had the World Health Organization actually ding me once.
I
Yeah.
guess the
I
key
just
there,
get, I was
is to give them
right.
attribution.
What was that?
I think the key there is to give them attribution, and drop the link for the video and say what the source is.
Yeah, that's quite possible. Right now, I'm still kind of scared because if I do it and I get a third strike, I'm gone. So I'm going to wait 59 more days before I try it.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's when one of the strikes goes away. And that's why I haven't been doing that many lives or videos, because I'm walking the fence's edge. If I make one more mistake, my channel's gone. So gotta be careful.
Yeah, you might have to start doing karaoke, Neil.
Yeah, that ain't gonna happen.
I'm just kidding. I'm just razzing you. But yeah, YouTube loves things like how-to videos, do-it-yourself type things, anything where you're sharing practical knowledge and skills, things that can help people with their daily life hacks. YouTube tends to push those things out.
Yeah, it's not what my show is into. I'm a iron worker, so that much that gets taken out of it as far as the how-to stuff.
You might be surprised.
I'm not an expert in too many how-to things.
Yeah.
I mean, the style of carpentry I did is a lot different than what they do now, because we didn't have nail guns when I was doing carpentry. Right. It was all hammered nail, So the whole fucking, quite frankly, quality level has collapsed from when I was doing it. And, it's just to pay. And this is the problem with our economy. I'm glad I kind of got on this. From my perspective, I worked for the number one subcontractor framer in the Southeast named Gary Miller. We built multi-million-dollar mansions in some very unique locations along the Gulf of Mexico and a couple of the rivers down there. And we hammer nailed every piece, screwed everything by hand. We were custom builders. And we did really good work, but we were expensive. And I'm looking at construction today, and I actually, I'll save that story for later. I'm looking at construction today thinking, how the hell can they frame in a house in 2 to 3 days and have it done quality? And you look at these nail guns, and if you understand how I mean, it sounds cool in principle to have a nail gun. Oh yeah, just you put this here, put this there, and bang, bam. There's a lot more to carpenting than that, because you could have a gap in the wood and the nails still hold, and it throw off the whole squareness, and they don't matter. Because if you go into sheetrock, these new houses, you'll find out they have to float some of the sheetrock because the wall's not square, and they're not manufacturing quality products for the next phase of the construction, and the next phase of the construction doesn't do quality product, and all of it's because people can't afford it, because to have quality craftsmanship cost shitloads of money. And what they've been doing in our lifetimes, of everyone I'm seeing here, no, not too many people would be older than me. In our lifetimes, they've gotten us used to buying a quality product to buying a piece of shit product and calling it normal.
Yeah.
And changing the economy to make the piece of shit product the same price as what a quality product was 40 years ago. So we think we're getting a quality product because they throw a word on it called new, and we perceive that to be lots of things that it's not. And our whole economy has grown in that direction, and it's kind of fucking messed up.
Yep. No, and you're right on that too, because it's with construction, like with many other things, it's the weakest link is going to be your maximum strength that you're going to have. So people that are doing the framing, if they don't understand what it's like to be doing the drywalling or the sheetrock, then they won't understand how important that is. So I think a lot of the times, really they should already have that skill, and they should have to do several hundred hours of drywalling first before they can actually get to do the framing.
Yeah. Uh-huh. No,
so that
that's
they can
that's the
appreciate
right
it.
way to
Yeah.
do it. And when you're finished with that type of 10,000 hours of training, you'll have a master builder on your hand. But no one does that. There's very few people out there that, because we've broken down into specialties. I've noticed that even my trade. Hell, 30 years ago, I came out here, they called me a decker. I was like, I'm an iron worker. Yeah, but you're going to be doing metal decking. Okay. It's not connecting. Connecting is another specialty. And then safety. Safety is another specialty. Bolt up, it's a specialty. Plumb up, it's a specialty. It's all iron work. It's all the same building, and it's all got to be done. Why do you only learn one part of it? But these kids nowadays, they only learn one part of it. I just came off a job where I had to do safety on my last day, and before that, I was doing plumb up, and before that, I was doing bolt up. And these kids nowadays, you'd need 3 different kids to do that because they don't have the skills to, do all of them good, because we specialize. And we've lost a lot of insight into quality from specialization. And that's where the carpenter doesn't do sheetrock and doesn't understand, because he lost the quality through specialization. He no longer even cares about the sheetrock or how it looks.
But it's important because that's your starting point. And if it doesn't start out right, all
Yep.
the other layers that go on top are going
Are
to
wrong.
be deficient. That's right.
Yep.
And then your drywaller has to cut corners in order to make it
Yep.
work.
Yep. And that takes away from quality.
But I like what Deplorable says here, like who really cares what the end product is or its life expectancy, so long as the packaging looks good.
You pretty much got that down as far as psychological sales. That's why all the toys as growing up as kids always looked cool as shit on the packaging, bro. Yeah. And then when you open up the toy, you're like, oh wow, this is substandard. That's why most people,
when you go to a restaurant and the menu shows you pictures of the product.
Perfect food.
Right? Yeah, and so you order it and it comes out, it doesn't even resemble it.
I actually was part of a process of making those pictures for a couple restaurants. Yeah, chefs would be in there cooking, making the plate up, and would clean it up. Nope, there's a drip there. Get in and wipe this off. Make it look freaking perfect. Okay, let's take the picture. In reality, you're never going to see a plate delivered like that on rush hour. But that's the picture that's on the drive-through and whatever. So yeah, totally get what you're saying.
A lot of those pictures that they have now are actually not even food. They're made out of plastic.
Yep.
So they come out looking 100% perfect and flawless.
You can blame McDonald's for that. Their business concept was the first business concept I know that wanted similarity across the globe for their product.
And now the only thing consistent about it is how you feel after you eat it.
If you have a stomach ache or not.
Yep. If not, give it half an hour.
Take some Pepto-Bismol.
Well, happy weekend, Neil. I hope you had a good week.
Well, I actually I was able to pull some ballerina moves in life and come up with some capital, even though I got fired for not supporting Palestine and lost $3,500 in income. I was able to come up with some money, and I was able to get the last piece of equipment I need to make my gym. The first 2 stages of my gym. So I'm going to be starting on that next week. And what will probably happen is I'll end up getting a job Monday and won't be able to get to it for a couple of weeks because I'll be working. But that's not a bad thing either.
Yeah, I get a little bit of cash rolling in.
Well, what will happen at that point in time is right now, I don't have the torch equipment to melt the gold and silver down because it is a high, it's higher heat than a propane torch. I mean, yeah, well, a butane torch anyhow.
Yeah, you need you need the proper furnace.
Yeah, and those are like $250. So if I go back to work, I'll just on the first paycheck I'll buy one, because right now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go down to the Union Hall apprenticeship hall where they have torches, and I'm gonna do all the casting and stuff down there to where I can just melt it with a job site fucking torch and melt down the shit and make it there at the hall.
Be careful with that, man. Be very careful when you're melting that stuff down. The like the mold that you're gonna pour it into, you got to preheat that so that when you pour the really hot stuff in, it doesn't.
It's a sandcasting. It's none of that.
Okay.
Now, what I will have to preheat is I have an overflow. It's a size of like a kilo that you pour per kilo, like what you were just saying. Those little like mold thingies,
or a crucible, even. Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna have to heat that up because I'm gonna be melting an ounce of silver, and it's gonna probably take like 2/3 of it. So I'm gonna have to pour the rest somewhere, and I don't want to put it in the trash. So I'm gonna have to preheat that up.
And just make sure you've got that safety equipment, man. Make sure you got the proper gloves, the proper tongs.
It's going to be at the Union Hall where we got all the welding equipment and welding safety. So that's all the exact same safety.
Beautiful.
They've got the face shields, clear face shields, gloves, all that stuff.
Good.
It's actually the best location because I have a face shield, but this is more convenient.
Oh, I've got an interesting piece of information you might like.
What's up?
To know. You know how they were saying that refineries were no longer accepting sterling silver or anything other than 3 9s?
Uh-huh.
I found out it was someone in the stacking community did a video. What the real issue was that in order to refine silver, you need not muriatic acid. It's there's a different chemical. But the point was, maybe someone in the chat knows. I'll look it up even. Was that right now there's so many military applications for silver that a lot of the refineries are already sort of on their back foot trying to refine enough silver for them. Right. So now when people are coming in and trying to sell their other stuff, they can't do it. And the global supply of that chemical, what is it? I'm going to look it up. Is actually drying up. Sulfuric acid. There it is. Andrew's got it. Sulfuric acid.
Nitric acid.
Or it could have been nitric acid too. But that was the real issue with it, was that they were starting to have problems sourcing it. So refining from 3 9s or 4 9s, just melting that down and turning that into whatever they need for the military applications is simple. But if you're bringing in like silver spoons and sterling silver,
it gets more
constitutional, they need to go through that acid, and they were having a tough time finding it.
This is for a chemical refining, what I just put in.
Okay.
There's several different chemical ways of refining the silver. It depends on what you're doing. That's just one of them. Yeah. It uses nitric acid. But that's where you break everything down, everything. I guess that might be more for sterling silver because it breaks down everything into a liquid form, and then you retrieve just the silver out of the liquid, basically.
This here says the primary chemical needed for refining silver is nitric acid. It's used to dissolve the silver and separate it from impurities.
Yeah. And then they pull the silver out of the liquid and leave the impurities in the liquid. Yeah. It's basically layman's terms. It's a chemical process, but that's basically it.
And the reason I found that neat was because I couldn't, for the life of me, figure out why they weren't accepting the sterling silver and whatnot.
Well, and what you just said is a foreteller of the future, my friend. What did you just said? Why were the refiners? Because they were filling military contracts?
Yep.
Okay.
Priorities.
What's that tell you?
I don't even want to say it, but I think I understand what you're getting at.
Yeah, because the military's been using it for 30 years, and this has never happened. So why now? Oh, they've increased production. Okay, why are they increasing production of whatever the military's doing? Anytime the military increases production, all of a sudden it affects retail.
Yeah.
Take a close eye at what the fuck they're doing.
Well,
I
the
hate
other thing is
it's
that
that three-letter.
silver. Go ahead.
No, I'm done. It's a three-letter word. I don't want to say it either because
Okay.
it's worse than all the other words I do say.
The other thing is that huge and vast amounts of silver are necessary in order to refine uranium to a high enough grade for nuclear application. And if we're going to be coming online with more and more nuclear power plants and whatnot, they're going to need to keep refining it. And they're going to need silver for that.
Did you guys see my last video I did? I think I showed the dude who gave the process of turning mercury into gold using fusion reactors or nuclear reactors. And the gold, depending on the outside shell that they use around the core, depending on what they use, can bring out, I think it's gold is AG, right?
AG silver, yep.
AG silver. Okay, AU
is gold.
It's gold. Okay, AU 147 is what it produces. It's a little radioactive, but it diminishes after a while. But one nuclear reactor, one megabyte nuclear reactor could produce 5,000 ounces of gold a year, or 5,000 kilograms a year, or something like that. I showed a video on my last live stream on it. But yeah, you can. It's not changing lead to gold, but it is making gold out of fission, the results of fission, which, if you've been watching my shows for a while, I was big on this for a while, and I actually still have the picture. I'm trying to get it up here real quick. That right there, that is called a planet blowing up, a star blowing up, supernova. That actually creates gold. On a smaller scale, what you're looking at is not what you're looking at is a supernova explosion. But on a smaller scale, what it is it's a nuclear or a micronuclear small modular reactor, but just big scaled. If you scale that explosion down, you have a micronuclear reactor. So if that explosion there creates gold and platinum, then the small and the smaller nuclear reactors can do the same thing. Science is science.
Gotcha. Yeah, I did not see that. I did not see that.
Okay, let me see if I can't find it real quick. Let's just keep talking. And
okay, as long as you don't get a strike.
Oh no, because I showed it on my last live stream, but I got a lot of clicking to do here because I got to go to my channel and then I got to go to.
That's another thing with YouTube as well, is you can have videos or live streams, that float right through, no issues at all. And then 2, 3, 4, 5 years later, they can come back and you can get a strike for them.
Oh yeah. If they don't like it, they don't like it. And every 4 years, we're going to have a new administration. So what you say today in 4 years will probably get you a strike.
Right. And then they switch the rules and make it retroactive.
Yeah. Keeps it all fresh and new people coming in and everyone hooked on the tube except for the people who get screwed. Mm-hmm. That sounds about right for business as normal.
Yeah, it's the new normal.
You can accept it or you can go get a rise above it. And by what I mean by rise above it is, if that's business as usual, well then, get into business and do business differently.
Yep. Go over it, around it, or through it.
Yeah, that's how you make change. You don't just bitch about it. And that's why I say I don't like talking about people, because I learned from the way I learned. If you talk about, let me start over. Small minds talk about people. Great minds talk about ideas. And that's always stuck in my head. And I can see the logic behind it. Because if you look at all these people who are like talking about other people, then you're looking at the Kardashians and who watches them. It's like, what kind of mentality has that person got? not one of a higher intellect learning.
Well,
But
what's worse is when people see other people like that and then they start to emulate it because
and that's the thing, and that's what they promote on the TV, on the boob tube. They promote the stupid shits to get more people hooked on it, so that way you're separating the wheat from the shaft.
that's right.
Now there's a lot of shaft.
And the husband is always the bumbling idiot in the couples. If you ever notice that,
Dude, I'm seeing games come up that you can download that are for women only, showing the start of a comic style of man and woman scene. Ow, cat! No, let go! That's a claw! That's a claw! And then the guy drives off and gets blown up, and then the game starts from the guy getting blown up. I'm like, wow, that's not what you want your daughters to be looking at, but that's what they're selling.
Yeah, and you don't want your sons to grow up, in that sort of a cultural mindset either.
That's the flip side of the coin. If the first side's no good, the other side's worse. Damn, I can't find it right now. Let me see. I'll try another way.
Deplorable Kulak. If you don't judge a man by his ideas, then what do you judge a man by? I would say by his actions.
Yeah, by his merit. What's he do? What does he do? Does he say he's coming over to mow the lawn or help you work on the yard at 6 o'clock and he doesn't come over at all? Yeah.
We've got 79 in the house. Good to
Oh,
see
no,
79.
ban her.
She's good people.
Oh, I like fucking with her.
Oh, yeah. We all made it through another week here. It's 4:45 p.m. Eastern here.
Damn, I can't find the video. I'm totally getting upset about this because I know I showed it. I even saved the guy's channel.
It maybe wasn't meant to be.
Yeah, I guess. But yeah, he gives a little 6-minute, very scientific based explanation of how it works. And it does work. That's why I've never been concerned about gold in Fort Knox. You want gold in Fort Knox? Make gold 147. That way you got all the gold in Fort Knox whatsoever. You just can't go in there because it's kind of radioactive. But you can take a picture of it and show people it's there.
Hey, Tom, are you expecting snow there tonight? I know we've got snow in the forecast here for this Sunday. They're saying we're going to get like 3 or 4 inches of it.
Man, screw that white stuff.
Oh, I'm not looking forward to it. I just ordered new snow tires for my car. I'm looking at, with installation and balancing and tax and everything, almost $1,000.
Ouch.
Yeah.
Ouch. That's why I go with retreads.
You go with what?
Retreads. It cost $50 a tire.
Yeah.
But I'm an ironworker. I go on job sites all the time, and every job site is run by a different contractor who has different feelings about spending money on cleanup. So sometimes you get flat tires and sometimes you don't. After you get one new tire flat on it and the contractor says he's not paying for it, I never bought them again. I do retreads.
Can you do that on passenger vehicles?
Passenger vehicles? What do you mean? That's my car is a passenger vehicle.
Cars well, I just never heard of retreading those tires. I've heard of it.
Really?
For the large,
Oh my God, it's a big thing out here, bro.
transport trucks.
It is a big thing out here. They're all the time busy. There's always a car in there getting a new tire. Well, a retread tire. It's $50 over like $250. People will jump on it left, right. If they don't have it there, see if you can't legally get it done. That's a good business, bro.
Especially for the snow tires, because
Uh-huh.
I've been noticing here recently, like when you look at the brand new one and you look at the tread depth, it doesn't even look like it's 1.5 inches of tread depth. So you can foresee you're not going to get more than 2 or 3 seasons out of it. But when I was growing up, I remember it was more like like mud tires where you've got like 3-4 inches of tread depth.
Well, they got to save money so that went away over time for profitability.
Yeah.
That's just like the 2x4. Measure 2x4. An 8-foot 2x4 is not 8 foot, and it's
Yeah.
not 2 inches, and it's not 4 inches, but they still call it an 8-foot 2x4.
Isn't that ridiculous?
Well, that's the psychology of the economic system that we have. It's nice that people are finally catching on to what I call absurdity of economics as we know it. That is the government-run economic system allowing for efficiency when you start going for savings let's save the planet. Okay, that means the wood company now gets an extra 1,000,000 board feet to sell every year because they decreased the length of an 8-foot 2x4 by 4 inches. You're saving the planet. No, you're not. You just made them a lot more money and you a lot more inconvenience.
Yeah, everything I'm seeing here for the retreading is like commercial, farming, industrial, off-road, mining. Oh, here's
Check in,
passenger.
check into it, bro. It's big business. Those guys are busy from open to close. They're the $50 every 10 minutes. Someone's handing them $50.
Yeah.
That's $300 an hour, freaking business, bro.
It's a good idea.
And you could probably get a lot of government money by recycling tires, taking all the tires they were going to throw away and just retread them.
You got to be so careful that you're doing a high quality job there, because if there's going to be a lot of liability in tires. Every single car accident is going to be investigated.
Yeah. I have not heard of one issue in
No?
that aspect. Yeah.
Like the tires blowing, or like I see that all the time on the highways here. The retread will peel off of the transport trucks tires.
The bigger issue we have is if there's a wreck, first thing you do is pray to God you don't see them jump out and run, because then you got hit by an illegal alien and you're fucked, because now your insurance has to cover the damage of being rear-ended.
Yeah.
That's the biggest issue here.
Yeah, or if it was a stolen vehicle, I guess.
Either way, if the people get out and run, you're fucked. And the people who do that are ones that don't care about getting in those situations. But that's California for you. That's what I see as a big problem out here. A big problem.
Andrew says never retreads. I wonder if he means never do or get retreads, or never a problem with them.
Well, it's an economic leveling. If you can afford new tires, you're doing good in your economy. You didn't just get laid off, all this other stuff. If you're not doing good in your economy, you just got laid off and you still need tires, you go to the secondary or lower end economy, and that's where you get the retreads. And people who transverse into the lower end economy or the secondary economy and open up a business to translate from the first level economy to the second level economy, they make lots of money because there's a lot of poor people out there.
Okay. Yeah, Andrew says never get them. I can see it for farming equipment, like tractors. I don't know if you guys know anything about farming, but you look at the tires on those tractors; those things are really, really expensive. And
well, all I can say is, Andrew, never get into construction. Because if you get a brand new tire and you get a fucking nail in the sidewall and you find out your boss ain't going to pay for it, you're going to have to spend another $200-300 on a tire. And this is going to happen again and again and again and again and again for your whole career. Would you consider buying a brand new tire every damn time, or would you go for retreads? Because it's coming out of your pocket.
I think I'd be considering the not run flat, but where they're going to be resistant to nails.
They got this foam shit that fills up the inside tire, but it affects your suspension.
And and it won't handle as well on the highways. And
yeah.
Now, there's always a compromise, There's always a compromise. The gators on the side of the road are retreads that have separated. Yeah, I see those most frequently in the summer, right? In the really hot days.
Used tire business is as good as retreads, just less work. And anyhow, when it comes to the lawsuits with the retreads, all your lawyer has to do is say, well, this was basically warranted or made to run on a regular road, and then they go out and drive the road and show how many potholes there are. Say this is not a regular road, so it's not going to last as long. Therefore, the liability is not on us; it's back on the state, city, or county who didn't maintain their roads.
Yeah,
because all their tire science is based off of a perfect road condition. I ask you this: how many of you can go outside and drive and not drive over a couple cracks or potholes in your city?
and same as with your suspension and steering components as well. Like
Yep.
they're not designed to be taking heavy impacts.
Yep. That's why you laugh at these people that have these off-road vehicle stuff. They're probably ideal for street driving.
And even then, like, you know, when you've got a Jeep or something like that, I know a lot of people have the assumption, oh, you can just go flying around like they do in the commercials, but really, like, they're not even designed for that. They're designed for like crawling up rocks and stuff like that, not freaking hitting them at 80 miles an hour.
Well, another thing you got to look at, and there's a science done on this. Two things: the bigger the tire, now this one would determine the size of the pothole. If the pothole is too big, it's out the window. It doesn't matter. If it's a small pothole and your tire, you got a bigger tire, you probably won't feel it. Now, if it's a bigger, like a 2 foot by 2 foot pothole, doesn't matter how big your tire is, you're going to feel it. But now there's also the science of the physics of speed. The faster you go, the less you're going to feel that bump. Because if you think about it from a linear perspective, look at your screen of your TV or something and put a line there and pretend there's a car going along and put a little fucking indentation like a pothole. And then say that car is going 25 miles an hour. The rubber, where the rubber hits the road, is going to stay on the road at that speed limit. So it's going to feel pretty much every bit of that bump. But now at 65 miles an hour, it'll probably cruise over about 70% of that bump. And so you'll only feel 30% of the impact of that pothole at a higher speed. All of it depending on the size of the pothole, obviously.
Yep. Yeah, I noticed that. For sure.
So there's lots of, you get into the law, all the shit comes up for lawsuits. They're like, well, we designed this system not for a fucked up city that doesn't put money back into their infrastructure. Sorry.
It's tougher up here too because we get, such cold weather in the winter and then pretty hot weather in the summer. So you get a lot more cracking and
and the cool thing about that is
frost heave.
It took more than 1 year to build that community. So they knew that was going to happen and should have planned for the maintenance of that road in that scenario when they were building the community in that area. Otherwise, they scammed everybody.
Yep, they do.
And nowadays, at least out here in California, I think it costs like $1 million a mile. Probably more, probably close to 2 to 3 now to pave a road.
Yeah, asphalt's become really expensive.
Yeah, so it's probably closer to $3 million to pave a mile worth of road. And most towns have a couple miles worth of road. And unless it's a small town, in which case they'll never get the money up to pave 1 mile of it through taxes.
I'm thinking I would buy retreads if it was like a work truck.
Yeah, that's
a country truck. You're driving around on the gravel roads or whatever, not going over 40, 50 miles an hour. But I don't think
I wouldn't put it on a Ferrari and drive on the highway.
I wouldn't feel as safe, once your temperature outside's over 100 degrees, and you're flying around at 70, 80 miles an hour.
That actually proves my point, Tom. My actually a bigger point is it is the point. We're living in a manufactured society that is, and it's through economics that everything's fails quicker because then you have to throw money at it, and that sustains the economy or the economic growth. So the less quality they build, the more maintenance required, the more money it costs, the larger your economy gets, the more people you'll have to hire, the more taxes they'll pay, and that's the road they go down.
Yeah. Planned obsolescence.
Did you understand that?
Yep.
Hey, what's up, Gerald? That's how it is, and that's what's happened with housing and everything, roads, everything. When I found that out, I don't fly nearly as much.
Even appliances. Like, I don't know if you
Yeah,
guys knew this, but your
5
electric
years,
powered washing machines and
5 years.
dryers are now being manufactured in a way that the parts that burn out the most frequently are all like crimped and sealed shut, so that like a handyman or a small appliance repair person can't get in there to do the job quickly. um, and even if they could, the replacement parts are going super expensive too. So what I'm
It's
hearing is people should be planning to replace their laundry, washing machine, and dryer every 5 years.
Yep. And
That's their life expectancy now.
under the economic system we're currently living in, that is 100% true. Another true thing is savings is shit in this economic system. That's why mom and dad's savings worked for them, because they most of their life was under a different economic system.
Yeah.
And we're changing economic systems again. Manufacturing's coming back to America, and what's going to happen is it's going to be made in America will be like the refrigerators of the 50s. You buy one, it's good for 20 years, and the part probably won't fail.
Yeah.
And our economy will go that way for about 50 years, and then we'll change economies again. The great thing about that is if they break up families, grandpa can't tell the grandkid what to expect for him to take financial gain from the cycle that's going to last he'll only see one in his lifetime.
Yeah. The only thing I see that's still built to last is taxation.
Actually, no, it's not. It's going away too here. And when I say this, man, governments take years to change. It took years to get fucked. It's going to take years to change. The going away of the Federal Reserve and income tax is already written in the script. It's going to happen. If you pay attention to what's happening financially, you'll hear more of the Treasury Secretary speaking more so than the Fed chairman speaking on economics. Now go back over the past couple of years and see how many times you've seen the Treasury Secretary come out talking about economic policies over the federal chairman doing it. It's always been the federal chairman most of my life. I remember, what was that, Kepler or whatever he was.
You mean Federal Reserve, right?
Yeah, Federal Reserve. They're the ones that have always led monetary policy. You always see them on TV, all this other crap. But now I'm seeing a lot of the Treasury Secretary out there doing the exact same thing. I haven't seen that before. It's rather an interesting anomaly that I've noticed, and I believe it's because the economic system is going to be changing, and the money's and control and power of economics is leaving the Federal Reserve System, because the Federal Reserve System is part of the imperialistic control of our American financial system that they started weaving that web in 1913 with the creation of the Federal Reserve, funded by the creation of income tax. See how they're tied hand in hand?
And it's a private entity. That was Alan
funded by the public.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. It started the same year. Income tax started to fund the Fed. So when I heard the president say he's going to get rid of income tax, that means bye-bye Fed. Because if the Fed doesn't have funding, it goes away. And now all of a sudden I'm seeing the Treasury Secretary talking more about monetary policy than I am the Federal Reserve Chairman. And I'm seeing a longer term shift from a Federal Reserve System to the Treasury running our economics. So now if that's going to happen, you would want to look back in history and see the last time that happened, when the Treasury Secretary was in control of our economic future rather than the Federal Reserve. And for that to happen, you got to go back to the 30s and beyond. It's just because the Fed and income tax was started in 1913 doesn't mean they got absolute power then. They did not get absolute power until 1940s. So there was still a Treasury Secretary that was running things. It's just over time he was losing control to the Federal Reserve that was gaining control. And they used the two wars to help crush the power of the Treasury Secretary in favor of the Federal Reserve. Because back then they were selling the feature of savings. What was it? I don't recall the name of the rule. It was like after 7 years of your money in the bank, it should double. with your savings.
It's the rule of 72.
72. That's it. Rule of 72. So that no longer applies because in this phase of that economic cycle, it comes to an end. So it goes to a reverse where now savings is a loss. So you got to look at things more long term. We're coming to the end of this economic cycle, which means there's a new economic cycle coming.
The rule of 72 is you take your rate of return, expected rate of return, and divide it by 72. And the answer is how many years it takes to double.
Yep.
So the default on that was if you're making 15% per year compounded annually, that asset will double every 5 years.
And that's what we were sold on, to buy into the economic principles that we're now living under at the end stage of this economic experiment that we're going through. The beginning stage of it was the exact reverse, the opposite side of the coin. Savings was good. You could buy and own a house, but then all of a sudden they started changing things until it got to reverse mortgages. When you first day you heard of a reverse mortgage, you should have been highly concerned about the economy. Because if you have an actual longer term perspective of the economic systems, you would understand that, well, when they started that meant we're within 15 to 20 years of the end game for this economy. Because their max goal is to take as much money and property and assets as possible. And that's what a reverse mortgage is. Now, what you did is you stole the sons and the grandkids' inheritance. Kind of cool, huh? And everyone wants to know why we're poor. Read.
There's a lot of reasons, but just like you started out this live stream today, I think the vast majority of people are poor is because they haven't got that broad base of skills set up and then identified what they could be most passionate about and then focus in on that.
That's it. And if you want to even increase it better than that, try and capitalize on all the skills as you're learning them, because you can still do it today. Yeah, you're in your 50s. You can still do the exact thing I just showed. It doesn't have to be from a kid. Unless you think you're going to be dead in 10 years, you can learn a new skill. You can still. I mean, like I said, Warren Buffett didn't start till 55. The lady who was the president of the Girl Scouts didn't start till 54. I mean, all you got the 10,000 hours. I mean, it can start at any point in your life that you want it to.
And there are a lot of people that are doing it, right? They are successful and they figured that out.
Yep. And the older you are, the more other skills you've already learned and gone through. Like in a Vincent Van Gogh scenario, he got fired from 5 different careers before he started fucking painting. So you as you gain skills and knowledge on the way until you find your niche. Or you can make your niche with the 10,000 hour. Or as you're finding your way, like me, when I was doing ironwork, I no longer really, I mean, it doesn't not interest me, but I'm not as interested in ironwork as I was when I was younger. Because of rules and regulations, it's made it no fun. But I've spent the past couple of years learning other things, doing the 10,000 hour rule, doing other things. So when I'm going to end my career early in early retirement, I'll already have developed enough skills and other things to keep rolling on. It didn't take 1 year. And this is only one person. It took 4 years for me to start that process. I started it when I was 53. So you don't have to announce to the world that you're doing it. You just start. You only got to prove it to yourself.
And a lot of the time you're better off not announcing it to the world.
That's why I haven't told anyone. I've been doing it for 4 years to change my career, because I saw what was coming and saw what I needed to do, and I started preparing for it. Never talked about it. People say, "Oh, you did this, that, the other," but never even knew that. That's another box that you can put me in. So someone who pre-thinks things years in advance and starts working on them while I'm telling no one. That's why I don't like being put in boxes, because there's too many of them. You haven't seen them all yet to even start to judge my character and personality. So judge me off my merit.
Tom says mine isn't one of them. I was just wondering how many people, do have a pretty high degree of financial success. So I just looked up, I Googled how many multimillionaires are there in the States?
Oh,
And
tens
it
of
says,
thousands.
no, look in the chat there. It says there's 8 to 9 million
There, yeah, yeah,
multimillionaire households in the US.
yeah. Google how many billionaires are in the U.S. You'll come up with a number like 1,183 or something like that. Billionaires inside the U.S.
Yep.
1,183 billionaires. And what upsets me about that is not one of them sons of bitches wants to be Batman.
This says over 800, so it's
Well, it's up there. The figure I saw, that's still 5 years ago, there was 167 or 169. Okay. You want wealth transfer. Look at these numbers. Go back and ask now, since you got your numbers of 800, go back and ask in 2020 how many billionaires were in America and see the number, and then do 2015 and 2010, and you can see what's happening with the economy.
Yeah, that one was, I think, as of 2024. Here it says there was between 615 and 630 in 2020.
Okay, so how many? That's 200 billionaires in 4 or 5 years were created. Who'd they take their money from?
115 extra.
Yeah, how did that many billionaires get that money?
Yeah, it's still subjective too, though, because you could have billionaires, that are like $200 billion net worth, or you could have a ton more that are like 3 billion, or
Here's something that Google doesn't put in there yet, but I already know it's a fact because I watched it happen. Ask Google how many trillionaires are in America.
Let's try in the world first.
Okay.
There are no trillionaires in the world.
Okay. Well, there is.
I don't believe that, but that's what Google says.
Okay. Well, Google in the next couple, as soon as they get updated, they should say there's one trillionaire, and his name is Elon Musk, and he just got approved by his board and everyone who voted to give him his $1 trillion pay package. He is the first trillionaire in the world, and he's an American. If you want to know how the economy's going and where all the money's going, I guess it's coming to America because there's tons of billionaires being made. What did you say? 115 of them in the past 5 years were made. That's a lot of billionaires to be made in 5 years. Go back and to 1970 and see how many billionaires there was, like 20 or 30.
Yeah. But like when I look at that, or even say trillionaires, that's a focused concentration of wealth, and
it came from somebody. A whole bunch of somebodies. How did they get that money from those whole bunch of somebodies?
It's raining money, and a lot of people are not getting wet.
Well, that's where you got to start looking at this stuff so you can figure out where that money's going so you can get some of it. These guys are in. On one of my live streams a while back, a couple live streams ago, I said, if Trump came out and said there's 20-some trillion dollars of investment coming to America. So I did a Google search to see what's already got here. And I found through my Google search that 8.8 trillion has already come into America. So the number I found was Saudi Arabia gave 1.5 trillion for manufacturing and aerospace manufacturing for America to start manufacturing. So anytime someone tells me there's no manufacturing, okay, if I write you a check for a house today, is it going to be finished 100% tomorrow? So I can move in? No, it'll be like a year or two down the road. Mm-hmm. Okay, manufacturing is coming back to America. We're in a changing economy. We're going to become a manufacturing nation. If you want to make money, get into the place where the money is flowing. Trump said there's $20 trillion going to be flowing into America in new investment. Find out where that money is going and get there before it hits. Because what's going to happen is if you have one of those, we'll call it a widget, before someone invests $1 trillion in manufacturing of widgets, well, you just made a lot of money, didn't you? You see what I'm saying? Because if the widget that you have has a market cap of $10 billion and $1 trillion gets thrown at it, that market cap just rose 1,000x. So your one widget is worth 1,000 widgets. See how you made money? Just in pre-investing in what the government is telling you money is going into by commitments from other countries that are also telling you they have just handed America this much money for this reason. If you don't want to be rich, that's cool. But if you want to be rich, your government's telling you, the governments of the world are telling you, this is where we're sticking our money. If you want, go there before we get there, because we're gonna raise the market cap. Hey, you have a great one, Andrew. Thank you for stopping by. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe.
Take care, Andrew. I got to take off in about 5 minutes too.
Yeah, I've been going actually 15 minutes longer than I was planning to, but I wasn't planning on you coming up. But that's cool. I always enjoy having you up here. Anyone, obviously, is welcome to come up as usual. You seem to be the only one that wants to. But that's it.
It's not a matter. It's possible that everybody in the chat wants to, but I just have less reasons not to, I guess.
Okay. That's a perspective.
And there's lots of reasons that people that want to come up wouldn't or couldn't.
That's
I wouldn't worry
it's
about that.
like a stage fright. That's a psychological thing.
Yeah, I wouldn't worry about. I don't get a lot of people coming up on my panels either. And actually, I've been noticing recently, like I hardly get any people even just showing up at my live streams. But other than the words game, it's because I think it's partly because it's not a regularly scheduled thing.
Yeah, if they just pop
just
up.
do it as a pop-up thing. So
Yeah, it takes a while to get the notification out if it's a pop-up. That's why I'm never surprised that I don't get more than 10 people, because I just do the pop-up lives. And some people don't get the notification for hours. Like Jeff Rose not here. He probably hasn't got there's a lot of people, William, a whole bunch of people are not here.
I noticed that especially on the community posts, right? Like when I'm scrolling through YouTube, it gives you that section where people have their community posts.
Yeah.
And almost all of the time, everything that it shows me, that it serves me, is at least 2 days old.
Yep.
So like I'm starting to really be disenchanted by that, because like so often you want to share something out, that is live to help give it traction, but nobody's going to see it for a couple of days anyway.
True that. I've noticed that about my shorts, my kitty cat shorts about 6 months ago.
Yeah.
I'd post one and I was checking, if I posted in the morning, noon, night, I was doing all that crap. And in the morning, if I posted, I'd get like within an hour or two, I'd get a couple thousand views.
Yeah.
If I posted in the afternoon, night, wouldn't get that many until the next day, if it was even recycled to be shown to the morning crowd, or who, morning my time. It could be the Philippines, it could be, evening. I don't know, whoever was those thousands of viewers were. But now it's just hundreds.
Yeah, they've switched up how they do the shorts too.
Yeah, so there's again, it's just like the changing of POTUS. Regulations change at the drop of a dime.
I found with my shorts videos recently, within an hour they'll get between 50 and 100 views, and then it just dies off for 3 to 5 hours, and then there's like a wave of views. It could be anything like from 500 to 2,000.
Right on.
And then 2 or 3 hours later, that just dies right off, and then you almost never get any more, unless it's an exceptional one. But
yeah, I don't know. That's why I don't really care about the game on how to get viewers, all this other crap. Because once you start playing the game, they're going to change the rules, which means you got to take more time learning how to play their game. And it's like, is it really worth that much of your life for whatever financial gain or whatever you're gaining out of it? And that's why when I started my channel, I was kind of ribbed into starting my channel by someone else. And I told myself I was just going to be honest with it. I wasn't going to be one of those people that does things for views. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I wanted it to have more substance than just a fly-by-night, money generation machine, which obviously I found out it's not.
It's a great way to just back up, what you're doing.
Yeah.
And so you don't have to have it stored on your devices. It's stored on
True
YouTube.
that.
So it's a nice virtual library, so long as
that's That's one reason why I'm doing all those shorts, is because it's a virtual library of my cats and their lives.
Yeah. So I think that you do well actually to consider setting up another channel that's specifically for more of the facts and stuff like that. Just so if it ever does get nuked, you've still got all your kitty cat stuff. Because if they nuke your channel, all that's gone.
Through that.
One.
Yeah, I'm going to start another channel after I move to Alabama.
Yeah.
That Lightning Strike channel. And then I'll probably do like a real podcast show, not like this one.
Better yet, you could just do your YouTube live stream like this and just run one of those banners and just put in the chat that you're live streaming on Rumble and put the Rumble link in there, because with Rumble you won't have to worry about most of this stuff you're worried about with YouTube. That's worthwhile considering. But I'm going to get going, guys. I'll be at Salivate Metals live stream in about 40 minutes.
You want to throw that link in, or you don't have it?
I can drop that in there.
Anyone who's blue, you got links you want to drop? Keep it clean. You know what I'm saying? You know, you're good people. You know what I'm saying? But you're more than welcome to throw links down if you want to like share information, not crazy shit.
High quality
yeah,
content or channels.
I said everyone who's blue is a mature adult and has better understanding of life than most people.
We'll put that in there. Why don't I put Ninja in there?
Yeah, sure. That's another thing. I need to figure out. I've got his housing course discount. I need to learn how to put that in permanently and where it always shows up, because you can get a disc. Because he's going to start doing that in a couple months, and I want to get in front of the sales part of his courses, his house flipping or whatever, buying, foreclosure, whatever he's going to do. I want to get ahead of the sales of it.
It's pretty easy to do that. It's just where you put in the description and the title. And then I think there's a thing where you can say save it for future ones. Or when you set it up, the first time you'll have to type all that in.
Uh-huh.
And then when you set up your next one, I think there's a spot you can click that says use details from previous live stream.
I'll have to start reading around and looking at that shit instead of just going straight live.
Better yet, just put that link in, put it in manually in the description the way you want, and then you just have to do that for each live stream. Right? It's right underneath where you have typed in the title is Friday.
Yeah.
In the description underneath that.
Yeah. That's usually where the StreamYard ad goes.
Yep, exactly. Yes, sir. Okay, have a good night, everybody. Great weekend.
Enjoy yourself.
Yeah, hope to see you soon. Ciao.
All right, bye-bye. Ooh, that picture got big. Copy and paste. Yeah, that's my boy. I guess I got nothing else. I got nothing. Unless anyone else wants to come up, start chatting, or you want to start chatting in chat for me to respond to anything you might want to talk about. Other than that, I got nothing. So I appreciate everyone coming in for this random live. I hope y'all have a great weekend. And remember, 10,000 hours. If you don't plan on being alive in 10,000 hours, then don't try something new. If you want to build up a new skill and be really good at it, the 10,000 hour rule can start at any time in your life while you're living your life. Take a couple hours a week or a day or whatever, and learn that new thing and practice that new thing that you want and develop that new skill that'll increase your livelihood or your leisure or whatever. But never stop learning. And having said that, I'm gonna let you guys go. You have a great weekend. Peace out.